The liver is the largest internal organ in the body, and the liver is the only organ in the body that has the ability to regrow. Welcome everyone, where we're going to be talking about your project manager this morning, which is your liver. You've just gone into your second day of detox and your liver is very busy today. It's gone into a different stage of detox. And as it goes through this stage, I'm going to be explaining to you what's happening in your liver. Your liver I call the project manager, because on a job site, all the plumbers come to the project manager, the painters come to the project manager. The project manager is orchestrating the job site. So that's what your liver's doing. It's orchestrating the job site, of course, which is the human body.
On your second day of detox, your liver steps into a new phase of action. It's not just busy, it's working overtime to process and eliminate toxins. During detox, your liver has a pivotal role in transforming harmful substances into harmless ones, which can then be excreted from the body. But how exactly does it do this? Your liver has a two-phase detoxification process. In the first phase, called phase 1 detoxification, enzymes known as cytochrome P450 enzymes convert toxins into reactive intermediates. It's a bit like breaking down a big, cumbersome piece of furniture into smaller parts that are easier to handle. But these intermediates can still be quite reactive and potentially harmful. Enter phase 2 detoxification. Here your liver adds molecules to these intermediates, transforming them into water-soluble compounds that can be easily excreted in your urine or bile. This process involves various conjugation pathways like glucuronidation, sulfation, and glutathione conjugation, each adding a different handle to the intermediate compounds, making them safe and manageable. During detox, your liver also synthesizes and releases bile, which is crucial for digestion and toxin elimination. Bile acts like a detergent, emulsifying fats and making it easier for your digestive system to break them down. It also carries waste products away from the liver to be excreted. But the liver's role doesn't stop there. It's also responsible for regulating blood sugar levels, producing essential proteins for blood clotting, and storing vital nutrients like vitamins and minerals. Think of it as a multitasking project manager who not only coordinates the cleanup, but also ensures that the workforce has all the tools and resources they need to function effectively. So, as you continue through your detox, remember that your liver is hard at work, managing a complex web of processes that keep your body in harmony. It's not just filtering out the bad stuff, it's orchestrating an intricate symphony of biochemical reactions that sustain your health.
Today I want to show you what it does with everything that comes into the body. So environmental poisons coming into the body, everything goes straight to the liver. And if it's toxic, the liver says, whoa, nasty guy, wrap him up in fat and store him. And if the liver looks at it and says, no, we can break that down to a state that can be easily released, that is what it will do. What about food? Let me show you what it does with the food that comes in. And never in the history of mankind have human beings eaten so many carbohydrates.
Dr. Barbara O'Neill will further explain how the liver serves as the body's ultimate inspection point. Imagine everything you consume or inhale, whether it's the air you breathe, the food you eat, or medications you take, making a stop at the liver. Think of it as a vigilant gatekeeper, assessing every molecule and deciding what stays or goes. Starting with environmental toxins, Dr. Barbara O'Neill describes how we're constantly exposed to pollutants, from the air we breathe to the products we use. When these toxins enter the body, they head straight to the liver, which acts like a vigilant bouncer, identifying and neutralizing harmful intruders. Next, Dr. Barbara O'Neill will discuss how modern diets high in carbohydrates impact the liver. Carbohydrates, broken down into glucose, provide energy for the body. The liver stores some of this glucose as glycogen, a quick energy source, to help maintain stable blood sugar levels. However, excessive carbohydrate intake, especially refined sugars and processed foods, leads to surplus glucose being converted into fat, a process known as de novo lipogenesis. This excess fat, when stored in the liver, can lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, impacting liver function and increasing the risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Despite these challenges, Dr. Barbara O'Neill highlights the liver's resilience, working non-stop to convert nutrients into usable forms while safely storing or eliminating excess. It's like a highly efficient factory, transforming raw materials into the energy and building blocks your body needs.
All of these foods break down in the gastrointestinal tract to a singular structure called glucose. Now the glucose goes on the M1 main highway portal vein straight to the project manager. And then the project manager determines where this glucose goes. And it'll take it inside the cell. Remember I promised you we'll be going to the CBD every day? So the glucose goes inside the cell. It goes through a 20-step pathway. The 20-step pathway gives us 2 units of energy. Isn't that why we eat? Now the end result of that 20-step pathway is a chemical form of glucose called pyruvate. Pyruvate is the chemical form of glucose that gets fed into the next section of the cell, often called the powerhouse, because this little 8-step pathway delivers to us a whopping 36 units of energy. 1 is to the cell to be burnt as fuel. Number 2, the glucose is stored as glycogen. So the third place that the liver will send that excess glucose is as fat. Your carbohydrate part of your meal is your negotiating part of the meal. And the negotiations change depending on your height, depending on your size, depending on your age, depending on your physical and mental output through the day, but probably most it would depend on your health status. So if someone wanted to lose weight quickly, safely, drastically, what would they severely eliminate? The carbs. Someone wanted to conquer cancer, what would they quite drastically drop? The carbs. Someone wanted to conquer their diabetes, what would they drop? The carbs. So let's have a look at cholesterol. It's a good time to look at it because the liver makes cholesterol. And by the way, it makes cholesterol according to the demand our body puts on it. And 80% of the cholesterol that the liver makes is made from glucose, and 20% of the cholesterol that the liver makes is made from fat. Now this information tells us straight away, it's not the butter on the bread, it's the bread under the butter that's the problem. And that's what Atkins found. So let's have a look at cholesterol. There are 2 main types. One is high density lipoprotein called HDL, high density lipoprotein, and LDL. HDL is usually called the good guy, and the reason for that is it's the carrier. So it carries excess cholesterol from the blood back into the liver. That's why it's called the good guy. LDL is called the bad guy. But what you've got to remember is the body doesn't make anything bad. It has a role. So what is its role? Its role is that of a repairer and a rebuilder. What's your liver doing today? We're not giving you enough food to run on. And so some of your fat cells are getting broken down to give the glucose that you need. But something else a little bit more sinister is being released. And that is the fat-soluble toxins that have been coming into our bodies over many years. Now this explains why your body odor might be a little worse than usual, why your breath might be a little worse than usual, why what you're leaving in the toilet might have a worse odor than usual, because your fat cells, as they're getting broken down to give you that excess glucose or extra glucose that you need, the fat-soluble toxins are being released. They're back into the blood. What your liver is doing is taking it through 3 phases. Phase 1 of the liver detox began yesterday on your first day of juicing. And in phase 1, your liver took this fat-soluble toxin and it broke it down to a metabolite. So what's a metabolite? Metabolite just really means the first stage of metabolism or breakdown. The first stage of breakdown, the metabolite is released. But this metabolite is highly volatile. This metabolite creates a lot of free radicals. This metabolite is highly toxic. In fact, in some instances, it creates a substance 100 times more toxic than it originally was, especially in the case of alcohol. And you might say, well, what's the liver doing? It's just created something far worse than it originally was. Within 36 hours of starting the detox, phase 2 kicks in. And phase 2 basically comes to the rescue. In phase 2, the liver takes this highly toxic metabolite and joins it together with amino acids. The union of this highly toxic metabolite with the amino acids, in fact the scientific term is conjugated, basically joins it together like that. So the conjugation of the amino acids and the toxic metabolite releases the water-soluble state, or converts it to a water-soluble. And remember, as a water-soluble toxin, it can be easily released out of the body. So phase 3 happens in conjunction with phase 2. So in phase 3, the body takes the water-soluble state and it releases it out via your sweat glands. What does the body need to support the liver to cope with this toxic metabolite? It needs antioxidants. And antioxidants, they basically mop up the free radicals, these free radicals. So what are the most potent antioxidants? Beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is found in all your orange and your green coloured vegetables.